The storm had flooded much of the low-lying city and weakened the levees protecting New Orleans from the Mississippi River and Lake Pontchartrain. By late morning, they broke in several places, and more water flowed in. The levees were built to withstand a Category 3 hurricane, and Katrina was a much stronger Category 4. The Army Corps of Engineers built the levees and have the difficult task of repairing them.
We and the local officials knew the capacity of this levee system to handle this storm, and that is exactly why the mayor and the governor ordered the evacuation of New Orleans, because they knew that if a Category 4 or 5 hurricane were to strike New Orleans, that this levee system could not be relied upon.
Military convoys brought much-needed supplies to residents who'd been stranded in the Superdome and in the city's convention center. Tens of thousands of people were soon being evacuated to other cities. Still, there were many New Orleanians left who didn't want to leave. But the rising waters were a health hazard, carrying raw sewage, petrochemicals, even dead bodies. Military teams helped comb the city, trying to find residents who were still at home and convince them to leave.
Did a year in Afghanistan, a year in Iraq, never seen nothing like this.
I got the locals keeping an eye out for all the thugs in the area. They're going to alert us on that. And two, we got the firefighters and any other EMS personnel who know the area to go find these people who need to get out of here.
Once we get everybody on the same sheet of music, then we can better coordinate our efforts, get people here to these zones and evacuate them by helicopter.
It's time to evacuate. They need to get over to the playground.
They don't have television. They cannot. They can't hear what's going on or see what's going on. So we need to go in some of these pockets and tell them it's time to get out.
National Guard! Come on, let's go out if you're in there. It's time to go. This part of it is frustrating, knowing that there are people in these apartments that won't come out, and sooner or later the food is going to run out, the water is going to run out, pestilence and disease is going to take over.
How much food and water do you have?
Plenty.
Okay, well, how many months can you last?
Let's get your stuff to take one bag. Okay, can y'all walk down there?
Bag?
One bag, that's all you can take.
We can only take one bag.
One bag.
Just one?
One bag a person. So you can get one each, right.
Got to go, bro. We need to get to that starting pump, please. No, right now.
Our first mission, we came in and we saw a group of people on the ramp, and we landed, and it was I don't know, you kind of had to choke back the tears just seeing these people carrying all their belongings, what they could, in their hands in a bag.
Well, we've been out here for 5 days. I thought it was 7 because I forgot which day it was.
We just got back from Kuwait in February, and so to help, here in the U.S. really made us feel better.
Army Lieutenant General Russell Honore, the commander of Joint Task Force Katrina, called the hurricane the perfect military operation. It knocked out communications, it knocked out power, it spread confusion in its wake.
The storm had surprise in it. We had a model that said the storm was going to come here. The storm changed track. The storm came in with overwhelming force. The storm brought damage from wind and water. It first cut our transportation. It then hit us with a massive attack of 30-foot seas on the coast of Mississippi. And in the process, it had a supporting attack on New Orleans. The National Guardsmen, who didn't live immediately on the coast, who had evacuated themselves and their families, they too became victims.
People around the world responded to the storm victims' plight. Canada and Mexico sent military relief teams. President George Bush visited multiple times. Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Richard Myers inspected relief efforts.
Trashed up to your ankles, people hurt, injured, wanting to leave the area. People are doing an outstanding job from all the agencies trying to put it all together.
At its peak, the unprecedented military response involved more than 70,000 military men and women. Among the 21 Navy ships sent to the area to support relief operations was USS Iwo Jima, which docked in the city of New Orleans and became both a command post and a primary base for helicopter operations.
Do maybe 300 to 400, 500 ops the whole entire deployment. We've done 300 to 400 ops today.
When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you.
Within days, the skies over New Orleans were filled with helicopters from all the military services. The Coast Guard alone would rescue more than 24,000 people. Louis Armstrong International Airport in New Orleans became a makeshift medical center, with military doctors caring for patients evacuated from civilian hospitals.
We've seen everything from the death of patients to the birth of young kids, overwhelming casualties coming in, successful treatment, triage, and transfer, frustrations of things that you need not having, and then the exhilaration of having many, many more assets arriving and being able to address the situation.
The Army Corps of Engineers focused on shoring up the breaks in the levees, the first essential step in draining water from the city. Throughout the devastated region, military engineer and construction teams brought in heavy equipment and set to work clearing debris.
I was south of the railroad tracks, and it was the first thing I thought was it looked like the tsunami, the images that we saw on the TV, because everything about 200, 300 yards from the ocean is just all washed away and pushed up, piled up in debris. It's horrible, but the things are getting a lot better out there just in the last week. Power's being restored, and no more lines waiting at the gas stations still have lines, but people aren't waiting for food anymore.
We have 1,000 CVs out right now in probably 8 different counties, 6 counties here in Mississippi, 1 in Alabama, and 1 in Louisiana, actually Parish in Louisiana. We also have an air detachment in New Orleans as well supporting. So we're out there touching base with municipalities and knocking out their priorities on their list in conjunction with FEMA and other military organizations that are out there. I think we're making a lot of success. There'll be a number of schools that are able to open several weeks earlier because of our direct impact. We've also helped reestablish public infrastructure, sewage facilities, water lines, those types of things.
Even though Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi suffered extensive damage, it quickly became a focal point for the distribution of essential services and supplies to surrounding communities.
My hospital is closed, and my doctors want to be out here. It's what we swore an oath to do. And that's our job, and we're just happy to have the ability to get out there and work.
All this cargo is coming off planes and going into these trucks to go out and help the public. We are moving all the passengers around base, all the evacuees, and also getting people off the base that need to get out. So it's a big effort.
And as quickly as possible, they work to restore services for military families.
We have people who've lost everything, who've lost an additional source of income through their spouses. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of uncertainty, a sense of urgency, but yet it's still amazing, the human spirit. There's nowhere I would rather be than right here, right now, serving in this way.
But full recovery was only beginning. Newly placed sandbags began holding back water in New Orleans, and water began to be pumped out of the city. Military people continue to play a major role in restoring a sense of normalcy to the Gulf region.
We will not back off from this. We're going to go in there and continue to help our fellow Americans, because that's our mission. This is what we signed up for, and we're going to make it happen.
The DoD forces have been critical in this response. Could not have done it without them. They bring force structure, command and control capability and competencies that are critical in a time like this. And in regard to reaching out to the local parishes, we know that in some cases we could not have got to those parishes and established the disaster recovery centers had not we had the support from DoD, whether it was the Marine Corps down to the southeast or the 82nd Airborne. And we know we ultimately need to relieve those DoD forces of the help they provided the parish president. So the role of DoD in this whole event has been key, and their efforts been remarkable.
Coming up next on Recon, the Air Force unit that goes eye to eye with Mother Nature.